We're live from New Delhi. You're watching the India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Drone attack kills 3 U.S. troops in Jordan, leaving dozens injured. U.S. President Biden vows to respond to attack. Japan joins other countries suspending funds to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine, expresses concerns about allegations of staffers' involvement in Hamas's October 7th attacks. India's Prime Minister Modi to interact with students, parents and teachers on a wide range of topics with final examinations around the corner in the latest edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha on Monday. And on to details now. 3 U.S. service members were killed and dozens were wounded during an unmanned aerial drone attack on U.S. forces stationed in northeastern Jordan near the Syrian border. U.S. President Joe Biden has blamed Iran-backed groups for the attack. U.S. officials also said that at least 34 personnel were being evaluated for possible traumatic brain injury. President Biden also said that the U.S. will respond to the attacks. The deaths marked the first fatalities of U.S. troops in the region since the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. Condemnation for the attacks also poured in from various leaders across the party lines in the U.S. And satellite imagery firm Planet Labs on Sunday released a file photograph of the military outpost in Jordan known as Star 22 that was struck by an unmanned aerial drone attack, killing 3 U.S. service members. Tower 22 holds a strategically important location in Jordan at the most northeastern point where the country's borders meet Syria and Iraq. The satellite imagery's release came as Jordan's official government spokesman Mohanad al-Mubaddiin condemned the terrorist attack and said the kingdom will confront security threats. U.S. military Al-Tanf had been key in the fight against Islamic State and has assumed a role as part of a U.S. strategy to contain Iran's military buildup in eastern Syria. Well, Japan said it has decided to suspend additional funding to the United Nations Agency for Palestinians in Gaza on Sunday, amid investigation into allegations of staff involvement in the October 7 attack on Israel. Japan's foreign ministry said the country is extremely concerned about the allegations and has been strongly urging to conduct the investigation in a prompt and complete manner. Meanwhile, UN officials have urged countries to reconsider their funding pauses for UNRWA. Well, the UN is grappling with the fallout of 12 aid workers employed by United Nations Relief and Works Agency being accused of involvement in the October 7 attacks in Israel. Several countries, including the US, UK and Germany, suspended funding to the aid agency. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged countries to maintain continuity of aid to Gaza. More in this report.
The United Nations Relief and Works Agency has fired 12 aid workers accused of involvement in the October 7 attacks in Israel and launched an investigation. The UN Secretary General released the statement and said that he was horrified by the allegations. Israel accused the UN agency of anti-Israel incitement.
Every UN body has become weaponized against the Jewish state, exploited as an instrument to aid in the elimination of my people. How symbolic it is, how symbolic is it that on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, it was exposed that UNRWA employees took part in the massacre.
At least 10 countries, including top donors, the US and Germany, paused funding for the UN Refugee Agency for Palestinians, following allegations by Israel that a dozen of its 13,000 staff in Gaza were involved in the October 7 rampage.
Yeah, we have suspended any outlying or yet to be allocated funds for UNRWA, the UN Relief and Works Agency. Pending the results of this investigation, we're obviously going to watch this very closely. We welcome the UN Secretary General and the Commissioner General of UNRWA, their comments today calling for a full investigation.
UN officials implored countries to reconsider a pause in funding the humanitarian aid in Gaza on Sunday, vowing to punish anyone involved in Hamas' attack on Israel and warning that aid for some 2 million people in Gaza was at stake. Since the 7th October conflict began, most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have become reliant on the aid that the United Nations Relief and Works Agency provides. Created in 1949, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, is the biggest UN agency operating in Gaza. It provides healthcare, education and other humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza, the West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon and Syria. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report for DD India.
And after 2 masked gunmen shot 1 person dead in a church in Istanbul on Sunday during the prayers, the Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan offered condolences. The attack took place at St. Mary Prasar Church in Istanbul. It is still not clear what was the motive of attack or why the victim was targeted. Erdogan said that the authorities are working to capture the assailants and they would be found within 24 hours.
Unfortunately, such villains pop up everywhere and the innocent ones pay the price. Now our police are working on it and I think they will find the perpetrators very soon.
Also, Pope Francis conveyed his condolences to Turkey after the attack during the Sunday service at a church. The Pope also urged people to respect civilians in conflict areas.
Express my closeness to the community of St. Mary Prasar Church in Istanbul that suffered an armed attack during Mass that caused 1 death and several wounded.
A Russian missile struck an industrial site in the central Ukrainian district of Kremenchuk for a second day on Sunday. Poltava Regional Governor Philip Pronin said the enemy is attacking Poltava region, noting that the target was in Kremenchuk district. Earlier on Saturday, a missile attack hit an industrial site in the same area, triggering a fire. Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declared his income across 2 years on Sunday as part of a drive to boost government transparency and root out endemic corruption. Zelensky has called for public officials to disclose their incomes as part of efforts to increase transparency and eliminate corruption as Ukraine tries to meet the stringent requirements for its bid to join the European Union. In a post on the presidential website, Zelensky noted that his income had declined in 2021 and further in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine at the end of February. It was the first time he publicly declared his income. In 2021, the year before the invasion, Zelensky and his family reported income of $285,000. The 2021 figure included income from the sale of $142,000 of government bonds. In 2022, the Zelensky family's income fell further to $97,800 as he earned less rental income from real estate he owned because of the outbreak of the war. Also, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky voiced the danger of the Ukraine conflict escalating into World War III as he pressed his case for support from nations from Germany to the United States in an interview with German state broadcaster ARD on Sunday. Zelensky said if Russia hit a NATO country, it would be the beginning of the Third World War. Zelensky also said he was disappointed that Germany had not played the role it should have played in the first occupation of Ukraine. On whether a second term of Donald Trump in the White House would affect support for his country, he said U.S. policy does not depend on a single person. And Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley started a campaign rally in South Carolina on Sunday. Haley mourned with a moment of silence for the families of 3 U.S. service members who were killed in an aerial drone attack on U.S. forces in Jordan. Haley said it is absolutely shameful and those families need to be lifted up. Haley is trying to gain momentum against Trump after coming in third place behind him in the Iowa caucuses and second place in New Hampshire. Both are now seeking victory in South Carolina.
The fact that as a military spouse, we lost 3 of our heroes today. And I will tell you the fact that we lost 3 and dozens were wounded after 160 attacks on our men and women in the military. It is absolutely shameful. But what we need to remember is those families need to be lifted up today.
And former U.S. President Donald Trump says he feels sharper now than he did 20 years ago. This after his rival for the Republican Party nomination, Nikki Haley, kept raising doubts about his abilities declining due to old age. Let's take a look at this report.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump marches towards the Republican Party nominations as he remains on the offensive after dominant wins in Iowa and New Hampshire. Now only Nikki Haley is left to compete with Trump for the Republican nomination. Reacting to recent attacks on his age and verbal gaffes by Republican presidential rival Nikki Haley, Trump has said he feels sharper now than 20 years ago.
I'll tell you what, I feel sharper now than I did 20 years ago. I really do. I don't know. It's probably not true. And I think anybody running for president should take an aptitude or a cognitive test.
Turning his attention to Biden, Trump focused much of his speech on the southern border. He mentioned that record number of migrants have been caught illegally crossing the US-Mexico border since Biden took office in 2021. In recent days, Haley has accused Trump of being confused and has questioned his ability to be president at his age. Trump has recently made some verbal slip-ups. During a speech on January 19, he confused Haley with former Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Trump and his allies have begun a campaign to force Haley out of the race, and Trump has threatened to banish from his political orbit any donors who continue to fund Haley. In response, Haley said her campaign started selling t-shirts that said "barred permanently," which she said raised $1.6 million for her campaign.
And what happened after that was a sight to see. Because on election night, we were super excited. We had moved 25 points in the 3 weeks leading up to the election. And Donald Trump was totally unhinged. Unhinged.
Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden took a swipe at his top Republican rival Donald Trump on Saturday, calling him the only loser I see ahead of next week's primary in South Carolina. The Democratic primary in South Carolina is on February 3, and Biden is expected to win handily as he carves an easy path to the party's nomination. Rahul Upadhyay's report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. North Korea leader Kim oversees test firing of submarine-launched cruise missiles. Voting in Finland to pick a new president on Sunday to lead the country, ex-Prime Minister Alexander Stubb wins first-round vote. In the show ahead, we take you to Venice Carnival, where tourists throng to Canal Grande to watch the colourful flotilla sail past.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Pariksha Pe Charcha. Moving on, Finland headed to the polls to pick a new president on Sunday to lead the country in its new role within NATO after it broke with decades of non-alignment to join the Western Defence Alliance in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A second-round runoff between the top two contenders, Alexander Stubb and Pekka Haavisto, will be held on February 11th if no candidate obtains more than 50% of the votes in Sunday's election. Both are promising a tough stance towards Russia to lead on the foreign and security policy in close cooperation with the government representing the country at NATO meetings, while also acting as a commander-in-chief of the Finnish Defence Forces. And North Macedonia's parliament elected Talat Zavari to head a caretaker government on Sunday. This is the first time an ethnic Albanian has held such a higher position. He will lead the country until general elections, which will take place in early May. Zafari got 65 votes in the 120-seat parliament. Albanians make up about 29.5% of the population of North Macedonia. The current government's main task is to secure fair and free elections. Well, French farmers continued the nationwide protest demanding better pay and living conditions, with the government dropping plans to gradually reduce state subsidies on agricultural diesel. The protests have led to roadblocks on motorways and damage to property, including local government offices. The French government has stepped up security measures as farmers prepare to converge on Paris. And thousands of demonstrators stand out in Munich on Sunday as part of an independently organized protest against the German government and its fiscal policies. The protest ran under the motto "Hand in Hand for Our Country" and called for more government help for small and middle-sized businesses. Many other protests were also against money being spent on Ukraine. Well, animal rights defenders in Mexico City protested the return of bullfighting to the capital after almost 2 years. They argued that torture is not art culture and demanded a final resolution. The Supreme Court allowed the return of bullfighting in December, which has been held in Mexico since the 16th century. Activists hope a final resolution will be reached later this year. The protest took place near the Plaza Mexico Bull Ring. And moving on, in Venezuela, the opposition called for the reversal of the Supreme Court ruling that upheld a ban on presidential candidate Maria Corina Machado's election participation. The court said it found that Machado had been involved in corruption and had lost money for Venezuela's foreign assets. The head of the opposition team said the Supreme Court's decision condemned Machado without the right to a defense.
We demand that the counterpart comply with the deal in its entirety, not in pieces. This deal is integrally designed to have a free electoral process and the absolute cessation of all these repressive escalation against social activists, politicians, campaign teams, parties and candidate Maria Corina Machado. We also demand that yesterday's decision be revised for violating the procedure.
Y contra la candidata Maria Corina Machado.
3 Western African states left the Economic Community of West African States after the regional economic bloc urging them to return to democratic rule. The 3 West African states, Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, are led by the military, and the decision by the 3 is a blow to the bloc's regional integration efforts after it suspended the 3 following coups. It could further weaken ECOWAS bloc, which has struggled to contain a democratic retreat in the West African region. And North Korea tested its new strategic cruise missile for the second time in a week, calling it a newly developed submarine-launched cruise missile. The missiles flew above the sea off the country's east coast and hit an unspecified island target. The state news agency released photographs of Kim supervising on Sunday the test of the missile, called full missile 331, which is identical to the strategic cruise missiles that the North said last week were under development. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said the missile will add a strategic significance in carrying out the plan for modernizing the army, which aims at building a powerful naval force. Well, the Philippines and the U.S. are planning to host a 2+2 meeting of top diplomatic and defense officials in Manila in March this year. The Philippines ambassador to Washington further said that the meeting will be their first such dialogue between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and their Philippine counterparts. The meeting comes amidst tensions between the Philippines and China over the South China Sea. Well, Southeast Asian country Malaysia is all set to coronate the nation's new king on Wednesday. Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar will be the new king of the country following the successful election from the southern state of Johor to the monarchy in October last year. The king plays largely a ceremonial role in Malaysia, including acting as a custodian of Islam in the Muslim-majority country. But the monarchy has become more influential in recent years due to prolonged political instability in the country. An Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian arrived in Islamabad on the invitation of his Pakistani counterpart Jalil Abbas Jilani amid recent tensions between the two countries. As per Pakistan Foreign Ministry, Iranian Foreign Minister will hold in-depth talks with his Pakistani counterpart and will call on Pakistan's Prime Minister. The ministry further said that recently both the countries have agreed to de-escalate the situation. The Indonesian naval vessel KRI France Kaisaipo undertook a diplomatic visit to Kochi from January 25th to 26th. Upon its arrival, the ship received a customary reception orchestrated by the India's SNC naval band. Throughout its stay in Kochi, the vessel engaged in meaningful professional exchanges, cross-deck visits, and showcased training simulators. The visit strengthens the existing maritime collaboration between the Indonesian and Indian navies. Moving on, in a momentous ceremony, High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, laid the foundation stone for the symbolic Ashoka pillar at Vasudeva Sri Subhuti Mahaviharya. The pillar signifies Buddhist teachings and honors the emperor's role in spreading Buddhism to the island nation, strengthening people-to-people connections. The project, entrusted to Sri Lankan artisans, aimed to showcase the rich cultural ties between India and Sri Lanka.
Foundation stone laying ceremony of this pillar in Sri Lanka is a true reflection of the civilizational old linkages between our two countries. Many of our Sri Lankan friends consider Buddhism as the greatest ever gift they got from India.
Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Sarah Jessica Parker will debut in Neil Simon's comedy about marriage, Plaza Suite, opposite Matthew Broderick. The West End transfer of the 2022 Broadway production, directed by John Benjamin Hickey, will open in London in January. The play, set in a hotel suite, features three characters: a couple celebrating their anniversary, a movie producer, and parents of a bride. Cubans participated in the March of the Torches led by President Miguel Diaz-Canel and former leader Raul Castro to commemorate the 171st anniversary of the birth of national hero Jose Marti. The march began at the University of Havana, where thousands rallied to raise the flame of freedom, shouting revolutionary slogans. A multi-vehicle crash on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge in Maryland involving over 40 vehicles left 13 people injured and closed all lanes for 6 hours. The initial chain reaction collision involved 23 vehicles, while secondary crashes affected 20 more. The bridge is 4.3 miles long. Tyler Blocker and Austin Pickett won the parallel free ride Engadin Snow 2024 title, defeating veteran Patrick Ambuhe and Luca Schneider in the main final. Swiss locals Nalu Nussbaum and Andel Hemos finished third overall on the Korvath's North Face in Silva Plain, Sarlej, Switzerland. Australia's Rihanna Nifland and Romania's Konstantin Popovic won the final event of the 2023 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series in Auckland, clinching the overall titles. Ifland won her 35th career win and 7th overall crown, while Popovic won his first overall title. Other competitors included Xanthia Panassi, Jessica McCauley, Carlos Gimeno and Aiden Hislop. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Ministry of Education clarifies on UGC guidelines that no reserved vacant post can be de-reserved. Musical extravaganza, beading retreat ceremony to be held at New Delhi today. Tourists rejoice in Gulmarg as a picturesque Kashmir Valley receives the first snowfall spell of the season.
Welcome to a happy place. To nature's warm embrace. Witness the power of faith. Fruits of hard work and protectors of Mother Earth. Unique in every way. Discover something new every day. A small state with big ambitions. And a bigger heart. Mizoram welcomes to love, laughter and celebrations.
Always welcoming. The vibe of Punjab is larger than life. Warm up to grandeur that's beyond compare. And history that's dotted with tales of bravery. Smiling soul of India, where music, art, cuisine and culture comes together to create an unforgettable.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Drone attack kills 3 U.S. troops in Jordan, leaving dozens injured. U.S. President Biden vows to respond to attack. Japan joins other countries suspending funds to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine, expresses concerns about allegations of staffers' involvement in Hamas's October 7th attacks. India's Prime Minister Modi to interact with students, parents and teachers on a wide range of topics, with final examinations around the corner in the latest edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha on Monday. And Indian President Draupadi Murmu met the tribal guests, tableau artists, NSS volunteers and NCC cadets, officials and other artists on Sunday at Rashtrapati Bhavan. She interacted with the artists who participated in the 75th Republic Day parade. The meeting showcased India's rich cultural heritage and commitment to national service, reflecting India's unity and inclusivity. The leader also emphasized appreciation for diverse contributions to the nation. And the 7th edition of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's interactive program with school students, teachers and parents, Pariksha Pe Charcha 2024 will be held in Delhi on Monday. The event will be held from 11 a.m. local time at Bharat Mandapam in Pragati Maidan, in which nearly 3,000 participants are expected to interact with the Prime Minister in the program. With the final examinations for various primary and higher school standards due in the coming months, participants will be discussing issues and concerns related to the matter with PM Modi. Around 22.6 million registrations have been made on the MyGov portal for this program.
They were like, really, you're going to meet the Prime Minister?
तो आज मैं पीएम म्यूज़ियम में आया हूँ। यहाँ पर मतलब जितने भी हमारे यहाँ पीएम थे, ये उनका एक मेमोरियल है।
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। जो चीज़ बोरिंग जो हम किताबों में पढ़ते थे वो हमें बहुत बोरिंग लगती थी, और यहाँ पे हमने इंटरेस्ट के साथ वीडियोस के थ्रू हमने सीखा है बहुत कुछ। बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
Well, preparations are underway as students and teachers collaborate on a special art exhibition set to be featured during Pariksha Pe Charcha, enhancing the event with their creative expressions. It is a discussion on students dealing with exams. DD India correspondent Kriti Vadhera reports for more.
Art is powerful in education. It not only fosters creativity and self-expression, but also enhances critical thinking and problem-solving skills. A unique art exhibition has been curated specifically for Pariksha Pe Charcha, showcasing diverse government schemes.
We are very excited, as usual, to participate in the event, and 3 of our projects have been chosen by the CBSE to be showcased at Pariksha Pe Charcha. So we are hoping that the Honorable Prime Minister will be interacting with the children, and children will get an opportunity to showcase their projects. These projects are on agriculture, they are on anti-bullying and women empowerment, and they are also on creating the oxygenated masks for the people where the environment is concerned and the pollution is concerned. So they've prepared these projects, and there's a lot of artwork which is being put up there also. And all this artwork that is there, it is an amalgamation of different folk arts. It is also depicting the different initiatives that our Honorable Prime Minister has taken.
Art encourages students to think beyond conventional boundaries, fostering a holistic approach to learning. While preparing artworks to be displayed at Pariksha Pe Charcha, attendees are eagerly anticipating the opportunity to meet PM Modi.
It's a very great opportunity for me, and I'm feeling very excited to meet Modi ji, and it's a great learning experience for me.
My artwork depicts how progressively India is developing in varied fields like Kisan Shakti, Nari Shakti, Kaushal Vikas, new education policy, etc. And the artwork is also depicting My Dr. Oxy mask, which we have developed with the help of new technology, which will help people with respiratory problems to seek medical help immediately.
We've created 3 different models, and we've created 5 artworks depicting what we are showing in the models, and one is the universal artwork for what we are depicting. My favorite one is where Lord Ram is creating the Ram Setu, and similarly we are showing Modi ji, and it's his vision to create India into a developed nation by the year 2047, which will be the 100th year of independence.
With such impressive artworks, Delhi is gearing up to host the much-awaited Pariksha Pe Charcha this year, featuring PM Modi on 29th January at Bharat Mandapam. With camera person Lalit, I'm Kriti Vadhera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
Or a discussion on exam-related matters by none other, Prime Minister of India on Monday has brought cheer to the people of Tripura, a state in the northeast of India. 4 students, Urmitanu, Kriti, Sushanta and Insha, have been selected from different schools in and around Agartala by the Ministry of Education to participate in the program. They expressed gratitude to the Prime Minister Modi and Education Ministry for their selection and for providing them a platform.
Selected from my government portal. There I have actually given a question to ask Sri Narendra Modi ji, and from that basis I have been selected from the weightage of the question. I'm very much happy, and I'm very much excited too, as I'll get to know many types of peoples from across India, and it's an opportunity for me to discover myself also in a way.
At first I am very happy as well as excited. The Ministry of Education have given me this opportunity to represent our beautiful state Tripura. How I can reduce my stress before examination, and how to prepare myself before for the examination.
Well, the 7th edition of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's interactive program with school student, teachers and parents, Pariksha Pe Charcha 2024 will be held in Delhi on Monday. The event will be held from 11 a.m. local time at Bharat Mandapam in Pragati Maidan, in which 3,000 participants are expected to interact with the Prime Minister. Well, with the final examinations of various primary and higher primary schools just around the corner, the Prime Minister is expected to speak to the student, teachers and the parents, and around 22.6 million registrations have been made in the MyGov portal for this program. And for more on this, we have a correspondent, Kriti Vadhera, joining us live. Well, Kriti, the much-awaited 7th edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha today, as we said, around 22.6 million registrations have been made on the MyGov portal for this program. Can you run us through this the program today?
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. And when we talk about Pariksha Pe Charcha at 2024, so indeed it's a very special event. It's the 7th edition of this program. And as you said, more than 3,000 participants all across the nation are invited for this event. And it is not just confined with students. Other than this students, teachers and the parents of these students are also invited to be part of this historic event at the iconic Bharat Mandapam today. And there have been several tips and mantras given by Honorable Prime Minister himself. There's a book he has written by the name of Exam Warriors. That's what he says. In this book, he has shared several tips with students, with the teachers and with the parents as well, telling them that how they can cope up during this time of examination when they are loaded with stress. So several stress busters tips are given as mantras in this book. And there are several tips to keep yourselves fit while doing physical exercises, practicing yoga, many tips for parents as well. So with such simple, realistic tips, Prime Minister would be addressing the students, the young generation of the nation today. And of course, not to forget here, we are talking about Viksit Bharat at 2047. So this young generation would be, will be the future of the nation. So it's going to be very interesting to witness the interaction which will take place today in Bharat Mandapam. And we have seen in recent times that PM shares a very special bond with the youngsters, with children, with students, and the way he addresses their question. Today also, in today's program, around 21 questions will be addressed. Although the questions Ministry of Education has received is in volume, it's very massive in scale, but selected questions which can be helpful for the community have been chosen for today's event. Lepakshi,
all
over
right.
to you.
Also, as you showed us the book, Exam Warriors, I'm sure each one of us will like to read it. Also, this time, PM is to interact with the parents for the first time alongside the students and the teachers. What all is expected there?
So when we talk about parents and teachers, see, there's a very simple quote which I'm having in my hand. It says, work together, grow together, join hands with your child's teacher. So which is a simple statement to the parents that during this time of stress, you just have to be a little calm towards your children. And the coordination between parents and teachers is utmost during this time. And parents would also be witnessing this discussion. And there's a special letter to the teachers also. So while writing, this is the very new edition of this book, the fresh edition, where PM, Honorable Prime Minister has, inculcated all the aspects of not just education, how this book can be a help to students, but to teachers and parents as well.
All right, thank
you. So we all are looking forward to today's Pariksha Pe Charcha. What in English we can address a simple discussion of questions with Prime Minister of the young generation of the nation.
All right, Kriti, thank you so much for that update from there. And moving on, people from different walks of life and from different parts of the country share their experiences about how being recognized in Mann Ki Baat has changed their life.
Prominent figures previously lauded by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during Mann Ki Baat gathered at Akashvani's Rang Bhavan in New Delhi for the monthly radio program. The special guests, integral to the Mann Ki Baat journey, shared their experiences and acknowledged the transformative impact of being recognized by PM Modi in shaping their global recognition. Prime Minister Modi consistently places special emphasis on individuals making commendable contributions spanning from Kashmir to the northeastern states in his Mann Ki Baat program.
We were mentioned on the 95th episode, and ever since we were mentioned, we have been called for various programs for promoting our, imparting our traditions, our cultures to the younger generations. We have been invited to multiple schools and colleges.
People from various regions of the country are actively talking about the impact on their lives following their recognition in the Mann Ki Baat initiative. In this edition too, Prime Minister Modi highlighted subjects like women power, organ donation and lauded Arjuna Award winners. For nearly a decade, this initiative has not only linked people but also continually inspired them to contribute to positive societal change. Meghna Dev's report for DD India.
And moving on, stating that India is now world's 5th largest economy, Vice President of India Jagdeep Dhankhar said that country has gone ahead of Canada, UK and France, and it has been achieved because of right policies, affirmative governance and result-oriented steps taken by the Indian government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Addressing a gathering at the Puducherry University on Sunday, he said that it's a matter of time. In 2-3 years, we would be world's 3rd largest global economy, marching ahead of Japan and Germany. Vice President of India added.
We now are world's 5th largest economy. That's not a small achievement. We have gone ahead of Canada, UK and France. And that we have done because of right policies, affirmative governance and result-oriented situation.
Also, Vice President Dhankhar said that because of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision and ambition, the country made tremendous developments in several socio-economic sectors, with many schemes improving the lives of Indian citizens.
In 2022, boys and girls, our digital transactions were more than 4 times of USA, UK, France and Germany taken together. 100 million gas connections have been given to the poor, free. Imagine the banking inclusion that has taken place. Currently, we have 500 million bank accounts that were away from banking inclusion.
Well, Indian Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar is on a day visit to South India's Puducherry and Cuddalore in Tamil Nadu on Monday. During his visit, the Vice President visited Sri Aurobindo Ashram in Puducherry and will later offer prayers and have darshan at Sri Thillai Natarajar Temple, Babaji Temple and Sri Ilai Amman Temple in the Cuddalore district of Tamil Nadu. And India and Saudi Arabia are set to begin the inaugural edition of joint military exercise Sadat Tanteek from today at the Mahajan Field Firing Range in western India's Rajasthan. The 14-day-long exercise aims to enhance synergy, interoperability and jointmanship by learning and sharing best practices between the armies of both nations. Both sides are fielding 45 personnel each to participate in the exercise. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Ministry of Education on Sunday clarified that no reserved post can be de-reserved after graft headlines by the University Grants Commission proposed that any vacancy reserved for specific category or community of the candidates can be declared unreserved if enough candidates from these categories are not available. The beating retreat ceremony will be held today at New Delhi's Vijay Chowk to mark the end of Republic Day festivities in India. The ceremony is held every year in India on the evening of January 29th, 3 days after the Republic Day. The ceremony will feature musical performances by the bands of Indian military marching on Shankhnad, the martial tune, motivating all to contribute towards nation building. Braving the early morning cold, devotees gather for the darshan of Ram Lalla at Sri Ram Janambhoomi Temple in India's Ayodhya. Meanwhile, in response to the overwhelming influx of devotees, the Sri Ram Janambhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust has issued the schedule for Aarti and Darshan, ensuring a structured and harmonious experience for devotees visiting the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. Higher reaches of northern India's Kashmir Valley received fresh snowfall on Sunday after a long dry spell. While rains lashed the plains, the Indian Meteorological Department has forecasted that prevailing weather conditions will continue till the 3rd of February in the region. Tourists at Gulmarg were seen playing with snow as this was season's first snowfall in the region. And still to come on DD India News Hour. It's a Monday and ahead in the show we'll get you an outlook for the global markets for the week. Jannik Sinner shines crowded as the new Australian Open men's single champion. This and more ahead. And we'll tell you about Special Olympics Bharat National Floorball Championship 2024 which kicked off today in Delhi.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs. With a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuran and moving on. Now there is a look at the outlook for the global markets for the week. This week, domestic equities are likely to continue with consolidation ahead of the United States Federal Reserve interest rate decision on Wednesday, where it is expected to maintain status quo and give some hint with regards to rate cut timelines. The global markets are also expected to react to India's interim budget, which Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is set to present on Thursday. Apart from this, the Bank of England monetary policy that's due, the situation in the Red Sea zone and Gulf of Aden, along with few key economic data releases, is expected to keep the markets range-bound. Well, the oil prices jumped 1% on Monday on fuel supply concerns after a missile struck a Trafigura-operated fuel tanker in the Red Sea, and as Russian refined products exports are set to fall as several refineries are under repair after drone attacks. Commodities trading Trafigura said on Saturday it was assessing the security risk of further Red Sea voyages after firefighters put out a blaze on a tanker attacked by Yemen's Houthi group a day earlier. Brent crude futures climbed 83 cents to $84.38 a barrel by 23:41 GMT after hitting a session high of $84.80. West Texas Intermediate odd WTI crude rose 78 cents to $78.79 a barrel. Disruptions to supply have been limited, but the situation seems to have changed after the Friday's attack on the oil tanker being operated on behalf of Trafigura was hit by a missile. You're watching DD India News. Our time now for some sports news. On to sports. Italy's Jannik Sinner scripted history as the world number 4, crowned as the new Australian Open men's single champion on Sunday. Sinner defeated world number 3 Daniil Medvedev in an epic 5-set thriller 3-6, 3-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-3 at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. Sinner came from behind to defeat Medvedev after Medvedev took the first 2 sets. This was Sinner's first Grand Slam title. A first-time champion in Melbourne was guaranteed after Sinner moved into his first major final by knocking out 10-time champion Novak Djokovic in the semi-finals. However, third seed Medvedev has lost 5 of his 6 major finals now, including back-to-back finals to Djokovic in 2021 and Nadal in 2022 at Melbourne Park.
There were obviously so many emotions in my head, the hard work and the sacrifices I've done throughout my career, and sharing this moment with my team was maybe the best feeling I've had until now, and nothing. It's great emotions. I was just happy. Yesterday I still maybe couldn't believe, and now I start to realize it. So it's a great feeling.
Well, India will take on Jamaica in the third and final Pool B match in the FIH Men's Hockey 5S World Cup in Oman on Monday. India started their campaign in the tournament with an emphatic victory, defeating Switzerland 9-1. The Indian team showcased a dominating performance with both Raheel and Maninder Singh scoring hat-tricks in the match. But in their second match of the day against Egypt, India lost the game by 6 goals to 8. India took an early lead courtesy of a solid field goal by Pawan Rajbhar, but Egypt quickly bounced back in the game as Hussam Eldon Ragab netted 2 goals. The men's FIH Hockey 5S World Cup 2024 is taking place in Oman from January 28th to January 31st, featuring 16 teams competing in 4 pools. And Indian athletes will compete for medals in various sports such as archery, badminton, football, kho-kho, kalari, payattu, shooting, swimming, table tennis, etc. in the Khelo India Youth Games, which is underway in southern state of Tamil Nadu. India's western state of Maharashtra leads the medal tally with 37 gold, 32 silver and 40 bronze, while Tamil Nadu is at the second position with 29 gold, 18 silver and 30 bronze, followed by Haryana with 29 gold, 16 silver and 39 bronze. And Special Olympics Bharat National Floorball Championship 2024 kicked off on Sunday in Delhi. President of Special Olympics Bharat Dr. Malika Nadda highlighted how championships like these contribute to building a more inclusive society. This championship also served as a tryout event for the Special Olympic Winter Games in Italy next year.
Display of athleticism and inclusivity. The Special Olympics Bharat Floorball National Championship 2024 kicked off in Delhi. It witnessed female athletes from 14 states showcasing their skills on the floor. The opening ceremony was graced by President of Special Olympics Bharat Dr. Malika Nadda, Member of Parliament Hans Raj Hans, and wrestler Yogeshwar Dutt. The trio inaugurated the event by lighting the ceremonial torch. Dr. Malika Nadda expressed optimism about the transformative power of sports in breaking barriers and promoting acceptance.
This is very important. Games are very important as to bring transformation in the lives of our special children. And through these games and through unified team, efforts, we are able to include them in the mainstream. I think this gives them a lot of moral strength and courage to fight in their lives as well. And we are all there to support our special athletes and to include them in the mainstream of the society.
The championship promises to be a moral booster for the participating special athletes. Floorball, a variant of floor hockey, involves a team of 5 players and a goalkeeper. It showcases teamwork, skill and strategic gameplay. This championship will also serve as a preparatory event for the Special Olympic Winter Games in Italy next year. Narayan Singh's report, DD India.
And now, before we leave, we'll show you glimpses of the Indian Army with one of the Indian songs, Foulad Ka Jigar.
फौलाद का जिगर हम डर से बेखबर जांबाज मस्त मिजाज हम न मौत की फिकर न मौत की फिकर फौलाद का जिगर हम डर से बेखबर जांबाज मस्त मिजाज हम न मौत की फिकर न मौत की फिकर फौलाद का जिगर
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.